You can see it. Oops. Pay attention to what you're doing. Don't do that.
It all started 100 years ago, fighting drought and blizzard, cattle prices too damn low. 100 years of ranching, they're still going now. They still make a living off them good old cows.
Hey, it's Carol from Red Dirt in My Soul, and a few of you have talked to me about maybe doing a wood burning tutorial, and I don't know that this will be so much a tutorial as is just an explanation of how I do it. I'm not really going to teach you any step by step, but I'm going to share what I've learned along the way. First of all, what you need to get started in wood burning is not very much. I had, for years and years, I had this little wood burner, and it did come with the tips that you could screw on here, and so you could get different shapes. It was okay. I did step up to these, and I can put the link down below what they are, and again it has tips that you can actually screw in, which is a great thing to have, but it seems like more often than not I find one tip that I like and I just stick with it. So these run probably, $15, $20. They're not very expensive. So it doesn't take a lot to just get into it, see if you like it. And there is nothing wrong. I think I've done the majority of my stuff with this tool right here. I like it. And it does have 2 settings on it. So that cost is pretty low. Then what I've done a lot of my work on has been wooden spoons. People seem to really like them, and some people will not use them, though I insist that they should be used. That's what they're for. I usually do something on the back, and then I usually do something on the handle as well. These are the ones that I've kind of kept because after I got done with them, I fell in love with them. So this is an American Kestrel, and the thing that I have found, this one, I really like this one as well. It's a nice little honeybee. But when I first got into them, you can see these handles. This one I use all the time in my kitchen, so that's why it's a little stained. But you can see what's happened to the handles is because they're not heavy, and of course I'm washing it, and sometimes I don't do dishes right away, and so it kind of soaks a little bit. It's got a little curve going to it. So some of these earlier spoons I did. Yeah, I did an Outlander one. Yeah, I know. What can I say? But anyway, so these were very thin, and I think I just probably picked these up at the grocery store, a dollar store or something. And then I've found these, and you can look at the difference. They're a lot sturdier, and they're going to just last a lot longer. They're not going to warp. They're better quality. Like I said, I can put the links down below. Again, like my dragon, I'd never drawn a dragon before, and I liked how he turned out. But again, I put him on. He was one of my earliest ones on the thin spoon there. So basically what I do is I might just grab some spoons and sit down on the couch while I'm watching TV or something, and I go ahead and I just draw, I sketch, and the things that kind of are really popular right now, the ones, this one says cause a stir, so, ooh. And that one you can see is, again, a different kind of wooden spoon. Um, People seem to like these cute little phrases. This one around here says, follow your dreams, with trees and mountains. Um, anyway, so I just kind of pick up stuff like that. You can do anything. You can buy the wooden blocks. You can buy, I'd go to the thrift store and see what I can find. There's lots of wooden frames that are easy to sand down and repurpose, kind of like my tables. So the only thing I don't recommend is bamboo is very difficult. It's very hard. And when you run across a ridge, a grain in your wood, your wood burner will bump over the top of it. And so bamboo is full of those hard ridges, and when it bumps, then if you're trying to draw something straight, it's not straight anymore. So I definitely don't recommend that. Plus, if it's already finished, you don't want to be breathing in those fumes when you're burning through the whatever it's been finished with. So sand stuff down if you're repurposing. Get rid of all that stuff. And then I just draw. And you can see that I started this with a narrower tip, probably the fine tip on my red wood burner. But I'm coming along with this. This is a walnut hollow wood burner right here. Now this one's a little bit more expensive. You can see it. Oops. Pay attention to what you're doing. Don't do that. And it too has different tips. You can see this one's got the little dot at the end. But I basically do a lot with just this tip right here. I do all sorts of shading and stuff. But you can actually, it comes with a little tool so you can, and it's hot, so I'm not going to touch it right now. But you just pull that out and stick a new tip in there. But one little tip, if you just play around with, can create a lot of different textures and shading. And so I decided I would thicken this up just a little bit. I might go ahead and try and do a time lapse of the table I'm working on right now. I've got it drawn out, and I don't draw out every little detail. It depends, like the birds, like I've got this metal arc that's drawn out. I hope can you see that? Kinda. There it is. I do try and do more detail when it's like an animal, because people go, that doesn't look like a metal arc. Things like this, I don't draw a lot of details out. We have a lot of climbers that come to this Ten Sleep Canyon and climb, and so I do a lot of spoons kind of maybe for sale for them or to tourists going through to Yellowstone. And this kind of stuff, when you're just doing scenic shots, you can just kind of play around. You know, you want to put a tree there, you just start building a little tree. And this little walnut hollow one has, you can actually adjust the temperature on this wood burner quite a bit. So if you just want to do a little shading, you can cool it down and just do that, or you can just very lightly touch it. This does, of course, it's not going to give you a crisp line, because this is a rounded dot. You can see that right there, I think. But that's okay. One thing I found with, let's see if I can find that. Where's my Kestrel? See this one? I did this with just the tip, and it's fading. It hasn't done anything. I haven't used it, but I can see that it's fading. The burn is so, and that's just from sitting on a table. I just kind of have it in a copper bucket just as decoration, and it's kind of fading out. So see, I can go back in and wood burn over that and make it out just a little bit darker. It's not staying as dark, and I think it's because I just was using such a fine little tip and not burning into the wood quite as dark, that it's kind of losing its visibility there. But it's easy enough to go back in and this one too. Something else I'm going to mention. A lot of beginning wood burners, when they start, they'll and it's just natural because that's how we learned how to color. Instead of showing maybe where each little feather comes over his head, the tendency is to just draw a line and outline him. And that doesn't always look real. I mean, it looks okay. Looks okay for a green man if you're doing outlining leaves. That's perfectly fine. You outline the leaves, that'll work. But if you're doing an animal like that, if you're doing trees, depending on how you really want the trees to go, you know, don't outline what you're doing. Go ahead and just pretend you're drawing every little bitty feather in his head. Sorry, it's hard for me to talk and do this stuff at the same time. So you can see I'm just kind of adding into, and of course, right where he has the dark streaks coming down from his eye, of course you'll want to be a little slower on that, a little bit more intense, so that those do actually look like darker stripes. Okay. So anyway, I mean, that's basically what I do. I don't wood burn on the couch. I taught myself a lesson. I fell asleep. Yeah, don't fall asleep with a wood burner in your hand. It's not good. Luckily, of course, I had a tray on my lap and everything. I didn't catch anything on fire, but it was just really stupid. And I didn't burn myself. But, so I don't wood burn when I'm sitting on the couch anymore. But I do draw. So, multitask, watch TV and draw at the same time, right? Anyway, that's about all it takes to get into wood burning. I think it's becoming more and more popular. There's groups on Instagram, there's groups on Facebook, there's all sorts of YouTube videos, all sorts of groups you can get in that people, you know, they're very supportive. They have challenges, so if you want to wood burn every day or every other day, they have a challenge of the day, that kind of stuff. So I think I would recommend it. It's, like I said, it's very inexpensive to get into, and kids will like it. I've had my grandkids do it, and they're pretty young to do it, but they've all tried it. They've all taken a shot at it, and they enjoy it, you know. Do they burn themselves? Sure. This one I've made to do like a leather look, and then I put somebody's brand here. I've made one for this for a lot of people. My dragon, again, is kind of like my kestrel. He's kind of lightening up a little bit, so I might have to go back in and darken him up just a little bit so he lasts. Anyway, that's about all I have for wood burning. Try it out. I will try and do a time lapse of something for you at a later date. All right. Thanks. Bye.